Hey Pet Nation, Dr. T here, and as I record this, there's a snowstorm brewing outside, and I hope everyone is safe in this nor'easter that we're having out here on the East Coast. We ended up closing early. We're gonna open up late tomorrow. Got several inches of snow on the ground, the wind's really blowing. But I got a warm fire and went out walking with our dog, so everything's good. And speaking of dogs, I wanted to discuss and talk to you about the influx of new pets that we're seeing during COVID. And so a few pointers I'd like to give just based on the experiences we're having at our practice. But I think a really good source is to look at Dr. Alex Avery of Our Pets Health. This guy's a wealth of information, and currently he's got 3 new videos out there for finding the right puppy, how not to get ripped off, etc. So take a look at those. Our Pets Health on YouTube, Dr. Alex Avery. So big shout out to that guy, doing a lot of good for the profession. I just wanted to give you some pointers about what we are finding, and just based on examples of things that are happening. So number one, whether it's a cat or a dog that you're thinking of bringing into your household, I think a fundamental question is it the right time? Is this a good moment? And so, for example, we had a client who informs us that they're recently unemployed, but then went out and adopted 2 kittens. I understand it. I understand the desire for that companionship. You want to bring new life into this desolate COVID time. But the difficulty is that as all things happen with pets, there was a incident with the limb, and after radiographs, we found a fracture. So, and the comment made was, I didn't expect these unexpected things to happen. Well, they do. And so I think it's very important just to really dig down deep and determine, is it the right time? Can we do this now? The next thing I think is you really have to look at your sourcing for a pet. So I don't know anyone out there who's not going to be a proponent for adoption in the vet world. There are tens of thousands of pets in the US that are in need of homes right now, whether they be cats, kittens, dogs, puppies. So definitely look at the shelters, look at the rescue groups. Adopt, don't shop is one of the general philosophies there. But if you do decide to go to a breeder, number one, look at the source. There are many reputable breeders out there. They will have adequate paperwork. They will have adequate vet care prior to your adoption. So definitely look at things like that. So from our experience, we've had several new puppies come on board, and I kid you not, the paperwork was literally handwritten. There was no indication of any contractual agreement. There was no indication that this pet was actually looked at by a veterinarian before this person spent thousands on them. And I'm not kidding you, thousands. There was a post recently on Facebook that someone spent $20,000 on a puppy. But it's not uncommon in my neck of the woods in the Northeast Princeton area, $3,000 to $5,000 for puppies. To get something like that where you have no documentation or no source of what's going on, that's quite frankly scary in my mind. So definitely, a reputable breeder will have a veterinarian examine their pet prior to adoption. Next, let's talk about the simple fact is that there will be veterinary costs for any pet that's adopted. You have to expect that. So it is quite surprising for someone like me to, again, be put into a situation where a client has just spent $3,000 to $5,000 on a pet, and they're struggling with the capacity, the ability to pay for general vaccines, preventatives for heartworm, tick and flea, and just general wellness visits for their pets. So definitely, going back to number one, is this a good time? So you have to expect that there are going to be vet fees. There's not a vet out there who wouldn't recommend, just at least the core vaccines, and wellness and everything like that. Many costs to purchase pets are spaying and neutering. So Again, going back to shelters and rescue groups, many of the vet care has actually been done prior to your adoption, including the spay and neuter. There will be little variations into what the shelters or rescue groups do. I find there's little differences in many of them. I work with some really good shelters, and they do really good medicine prior to adoption, so definitely look at things like that. Another general thing to think about is many of you are adopting puppies and kittens. It's not just the first set of shots and then we're done. So definitively take your pet to a veterinarian within a few days of adoption. Some contracts require that you do that. There are some ways that you are protected, especially in my neck of the woods. If you get an exam by a veterinarian and they find something wrong, you're protected in that sense. Be careful of adopting out of state, because those sort of protections don't exist when you come to your home state to get the veterinary care. So just remember things like that. But it's never one vaccine and that's it. I had a pet come in today that literally had one distemper series, and part of that distemper series is the parvovirus vaccine. You need multiple boosters for that to get adequate protection. GI parasites, one of the first things your veterinarian is going to want to do is either give your pet a dewormer and or check a fecal sample. GI parasites are very common in any adoption situation. It's a combination of the fact that the pet's immune system is not yet fully developed. There may be a parasite that happens to be in the area where the breeder is, so it's not uncommon, so don't be shocked if this happens. But definitely that's another reason why to get your pet checked and get a fecal sample done. And finally, it's not uncommon that there are many breeders out there and many veterinarians just don't see eye to eye on things. I think ranging from the vaccines, ranging from the time of spay or neuter, ranging from diet. And the only thing I'm going to throw out there is there are breeders out there that are proponents for the line, proponents for the pet, but I find there's these trends with breeders. So like if they go, never get this vaccine, so something must have happened that they had an issue with that vaccine, or never give oral tick and flea I had recently. Something must have happened. And so it's okay to have those discussions, but you have to keep in mind that people like me are trained medically and are trained to provide you with the best interest medically for your pet. So you have to be open to the discussions of certain vaccines. You have to be open to the discussions of when the best time to spay and neuter is. We're not trying to sell a pet. We're trying actually to sell better healthcare. And that's the reality of the situation. So that's my little take on the recent changes with these plethora of adoptions. So things to think about, maybe little things to go back and talk to your veterinarian about. And I hope this helps many of you make that decision or helps guide you. But that's what, it's great to talk to your veterinarian. I see a lot of postings on the Facebook pages of my local town and everything asking questions that the simple answer is talk to your veterinarian or get a vet. Those are types of things that will really help. And remember everyone, love your pet like they love you unconditionally. Have a great day. So, did I ever tell you that I have the only domesticated chupacabra in history? Adopted. This one particularly came from Puerto Rico, but adopted. And she's only like 9 inches tall, but she weighs like 30. She's very dense. One of the best decisions I've ever made. Adopt. Okay. Oh, you're heavy. Okay, thank you.